Ho, 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 Merry Christmas. How's everybody doing? It's Christmas. It is. Hey. Are we all winning? Beautiful. Yeah. We'll start off with a bit of festive cheer, shall we? Merry Pumpmas, boys and girls. Last public stream before Christmas? Quite probably. We might sneak one in next week, but we'll see what we're doing. To be honest, I went out and did Christmas shopping today because I thought the market would be fucking awful. I got that wrong, didn't I? But here we are. Here we are, loving life. Doing good. Good to hear it. Yeah, so I'll probably be doing one next week. But, yeah, what a day. What a day, eh? Got some good Fartcoin trades since I saw your posts about taking Fartcoin trades. Yeah, I mean, I started off with a decent outlook in the group this morning about basically ZEC and Fartcoin, and, you know, two decent rotations from both of them. But we'll kind of come on to that. We'll come on to some of the dream makers. Good morning, Nelly. Yeah, there's been some really nice rotations today. If you guys were, you know, actively trading, I literally decided at about midday, so here my time, to go out. I was like, this is fucking boring. Went out, and then obviously the market just ripped. Sean the highs of Bitcoin today, we'll go over that. We'll go over that in a bit. First off, we'll shout out to Breakout, Breakout Prop. You would have seen the link in the description of my tweet, unless you're just following from YouTube, in which case it's in the comments. There's a discount code in the bottom left, Merry Christmas. If you do sign up and take an evaluation, use that for a discount. Easy as peas. Am I shorting Bitcoin? I mean, it's not a terrible place to short it, let's be honest. Right? If we go over this and we look at this just from a high time frame structure perspective, right? Like, all I see is this SR level, essentially. This massive high time frame pivot, resistance, support, support, resistance, support. You know, we kind of hold up a little bit here and then just break through, and then resistance. But equally, we're heading into it on a series of higher lows, which is, you know, nice and bullish. And, you know, there's a lot of macro bullshit about how we are setting up for an incredible 2026, you know, interest rates lowering, all that kind of wonderful stuff. We actually talked about this specific range here on Sunday, I think it was. Yeah, it was Sunday. And just in terms of like playing a reclaim or a breakout at the highs, whatever. And, you know, that turns out to be the lows. Now, I didn't trade this. I was actually looking at ZEC and Useless. Useless? Sorry, why did I say useless? What a fucking idiot. It's just because it was there next to it. ZEC and Fartcoin, they're the two that I've been trading mostly, or looking for trades on. Yeah, ZEC was nice. Decided to literally rip out as I left the house, which is really nice. But yeah, I'm not trying to, you know, ape massively into this. This was a really nice move, just on simple low time frame, like consistent lows, diagonal downtrend. Like, this was the discussion this morning in the outlook that as we're breaking a downtrend, hopefully we see some sort of bullish reversal, and we did, but I was completely offside for it, you know. It happens. I have to do Christmas shopping at some point. I have to, you know, live a bit of life at some point, and I just happened to pick the worst possible time to do it. But I think a lot of people managed to catch some of these rotations. Certainly in the group, quite a few people were catching the rotations that I kind of laid out this morning, like on Fartcoin and stuff, even if it was not quite as planned. I don't think Charlie would short anything these times. I short a lot in general. I don't short a lot in general, actually. I've been like 99% long for a long time. But I am sort of conscious that there's a lot of dying momentum on low time frames on things like Fartcoin, which is really sad to see, because absolutely loved trading this. Even just like intraday rotations on Fartcoin. Like, this is really nice. I completely missed it, but really nice. And again, it's like been such a easy take profit place, right? Basically anything around sort of 40 cents has been very consistently sold into. There's clearly a massive seller at this level, and when it does finally breach it, and people think, well, actually I can sell this for 69 cents, hopefully it just absolutely rips. But I'm glad it hasn't yet, because I've been a bit annoyed that I missed that particular rotation. because I've been trading it. Yeah, I basically like traded this, traded this, traded this, traded this, traded this, and then it would be just my luck to not trade the one that ends up doing this. But que sera. And I blew up my synthetics account by shorting it. Somewhere over here or something. Shorting 98k all the way at Christmas rally. So, I mean, one of the things that I've kind of preached for a long time is the RR of shorting in general is pretty shit, right? Like, I tend to think of shorting like this, right? If the market is going up and it's in a really strong uptrend, now, you know, my positioning is usually I've got some spot bags, I've got some spot bags of whatever shit I've either invested in or just bag hold for a long time. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got Burt bags that I've got. Let's not talk about how much I've round tripped on that. That's pretty embarrassing, to be honest. But whatever. We we hold it and we see what happens. we just pray at this point. You know, I did sell some around 0.5 or whatever it was, where I told people that is a kind of key pivotal level for me. And if you literally just smack it on this chart, you'll see why. You know, it's pretty simple. Bosh, 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 bosh. Yeah, you know, nice and easy. But, you know, from a market perspective in general, if everything is going up and you are playing my trading style, which is intraday longing altcoins, you're going to do pretty well. It just becomes a point where the market starts to turn, risk starts eroding. So, you know, these moves become much smaller. They're not 10% anymore. They're, you know, really small. Relative strength turns into relative weakness. You know, all these charts, highest time frames, start printing divs and stuff. And then you start thinking, yeah, actually, like, my exposure to the market in general is usually net long, right? And if the market goes up in that scenario, tick, I win. If the market goes sideways, nothing really happens. But if the market goes down and I'm net long, I need to start thinking, particularly when I'm up massively, you know, how do I protect myself against this? And what happens if the market goes down? You know, I'm always kind of thinking like that, like probabilistic thinking. I think Kobe did a great thread on it before around, you know, what are your chances of the market just doing this? What are your chances of the market kind of doing this or this or this or this, you know? And just literally think from this current position, what are the weightings that I'm going to give to each of these? How do I want to be positioned or protect against each of these? And remembering that cash is a position if you want to be, you know, cash heavy. If you think the market's topped because of whatever, your momentum, divergences at the highs, it looks like we're coffee and distribution schematic, you know, we're at a high time frame SR level, and you'll get bullish above, you know, 95k, absolutely fine, right? For me, shorting is a massive protection tool against all of that, right? There's a reason I posted a short up here and I got stopped technically on it by like whatever it was like $200 or something stupid. I was an absolute pussy with my stop because it was a bajillionaire trade, right? What am I doing? Fucking idiot! Come on. I'm waiting for the devs at TradingView to get rid of brushes just automatically for me, or like in a single button press. So yeah, I've still got a bit of a cough, so I do apologize that I keep coughing into the mic. I'm sure it's not very fun for you guys. But like, this to me is like, okay, if we actually break out of this in and of itself can be a nice like run. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to just smash it long into resistance. Like, a lot of people in the group said, what are you going to do? You missed the trade. I'm like, oh, I missed a fucking trade. I missed a trade every single day of my life. You know, there's always a trade. There's always something going on somewhere in some market that you could have longed or shorted and made a bajillion dollars, right? I feel like SC is going to single-handedly bring Burt back from the grave. I hope so, brother. I hope so. So, you know, and I also think that, like, for me, like, where my positioning is personally, I've still got like a long-term bag of Bitcoin, right? It's, you know, a bunch that I've just like held off from selling because I want my daughter to have some. I want it to be like family heirloom, whatever, I don't know. But it is my protection against the failure of the fiat system and all that kind of shit, yeah? And I think a lot of people have lost that kind of mojo and motto, but anyway, I can afford to do it, so I've done it. So I've got, you know, Bitcoins just for rainy day fund, I guess. And it's that like long-term belief thing. But anyway, like, so I am exposed to Bitcoin. But really the place to hedge it was up here. It's where I tried to hedge it, to be fair. But I hedged it with a fucking stupid short that was like this. You know, you'll see it on the timeline. I think my stop was like literally like here. I think I got stopped out by about $10 on fucking whatever it was, yeah? The time to short, to me, isn't when you're down like 35% from the highs or whatever it is, yeah? It's not down here. It's like, yeah, if you get a really illiquid move up and it runs properly up until this level and you get a solid rejection, then yeah, maybe. Maybe that's the time to go, well, this trend has tried to, you know, go down. It's tried to reverse and it's failing because we've got divs into previous support. That's a good time to start thinking about flipping short, but I can't do it here. Like, I'm not going to play this as trend continuation to the downside, right? That's just my personal view and my personal, like, appetite for shorting in these conditions. I think if you look at a lot of altcoins, you'd probably say similar, right? You know, I thought this morning that, to be honest, Farcoin looked pretty weak in terms of both relative strength and in terms of like low time frame momentum. If you look at the like hourly, if you look at the sort of 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, you've just got this like declining momentum in terms of RSI, right? It just doesn't look particularly great, which means that every move up is just getting weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. And you kind of got this here. Like, I don't want to short Farcoin, right? And the last time I did, like I said, I liquidated my synthetics fuck around account for the perp trading competition because I thought I got to do something different, right? But it's just not looking great. You know, I'd rather see something like this, see it fail the big breakout of sweeping all these highs on relative strength or relative weakness. Once we, you know, die off, come back in and short it as it re-accepts back into this consolidation and play it to the range low. Yeah, that would be like one of the only times I'd be tempted to smash a short. Does that make sense? Real strength above the yearly open. And along there, yeah, no, that's fair, man. Like, this is a really strong move. Like, let's not forget that. This is a really, really good move. Like, it's pretty encouraging. And like I said, the thing that gives me the kind of confidence in it is the consistent higher lows. Like, it's that structure that makes me a little bit more like, ooh, this is actually quite bullish, yeah? I mean, I'm not going to get super excited. I'm not seeing anything like the massive bull run of 2026, do you know what I mean? Like, everything's gonna 10x. I'm not gonna sit here and preach that kind of garbage, because I'm not that kind of, you know, call or whatever you fucking call these people. But there's always opportunity on rotations. Like I said, like, Zek was really good today. I got the timing wrong in the outlook this morning in terms of, like, this breakout. But, like, look at it. All it is a range play. Yeah? Establish a range, deviate the range, reclaim the range. I was annoyed that I missed that this morning, so I actually was awake, but I went and opened the advent calendars with my daughter. You know, I was looking for this, just a simple breakout trade, simple breakout, range highs, nice continuation. You've now got this in terms of structure, and hopefully it runs, you know, if you were in it. Like, I haven't got a clear setup here. This is like a trend continuation setup, like up here, and it's quite extended, so I'm just not going to join that trend, right? And you've also got this in terms of like consistent lower highs on RSI, coming back, retest that 50, like, see if we can find equilibrium. Yeah, maybe we get a range breakout here that you can play or something, but for now I'm just going to leave it, right? Bonko Pengu, which one looks more bullish to you? So I'll teach you something. So what you always do is do something like this. Bonk USDT, bosh. Go try it, right? So, based off this, Pengu. So, downtrend, uptrend, Pengu. And neither of these cunts have paid me, but they pay other people, so neither of them really. I can sell them both. Short them to zero. And ironically, Pengu is like one of those setups where there's a consolidation, there's the breakout, come back in, yeah, short it. I would normally take that, but I mean, look at, like, well, sorry, that's Pengu Bonk. But I bet the Pengu chart looks pretty similar. But you know, we're at this point where a lot of alts are so fucking oversold. So fucking oversold. But like, you do you really want to be short in like the real shorts are up here, yeah? Not down here. And I know that we can still fucking trend down, you can still catch a 40-50% move, but yeah. I would rather be trying to just long some of these rotations, right? Like, look at some of this, like, that 36%, even that as a breakout trade, 16%, really fucking nice, really fucking nice, really strong moves. This is quite a rocky Christmas tune, good God. But yeah, hopefully that gives you a little bit of a sort of way that you can look at these as well, right? That's what I do, just I look at them together, or you look at them on here, right? And you go, well, what can I see? I can see Pengu, where the fuck is Bonk? No idea. You're welcome, man. Have a look at the range on Silver hourly. Well, Silver is looking disgustingly strong, isn't it? Where is it? If I click the right one. Oh yeah, got that. That was the chart we drew way back here, and now it's just absolutely ripped again. Look at it. That is monstrous. Absolutely monstrous. Holy shit. Yeah, I mean that's nice. Do you see what I mean though? Again though, it's like a breakout of a range. But if you go a bit lower, we're diverging across these highs. You know, something is up with the old commodities, but whatever. Nice little div across these highs. I mean, I'm not a mad fan of shorting something like this. Like I always like the lower high to give me confirmation of market weakness, right? As opposed to just playing raw divergences on something that's going absolutely fucking mental. You know, again, this looks like a parabola, like running. Just insane. How'd you play the next few days? Wait some range consolidation and play breakouts? Yeah, pretty much. Did the people last stream order to short Pippin send you their money? No, they didn't. But that's fair enough, man. Like, you know, I feel like semi-bad because this was when it was Tuesday here, so it must have been around here. And I said, you know, look, guys, I would not be trying to do this. Like, it's just not worth it. And actually, you know, if you did short this, you were probably like 30% up at one point, yeah? And then that 30% just insta-reverses and goes like fucking 2x on you and just blows your asshole out the water. And that's the exact reason why I don't try and short these. Now, these mass supply controlled bits of garbage, you know, I said they're really good on the long side. You know, even if you call that short top to bottom, you're up 30%, you know, amazing, don't get me wrong, absolutely incredible. But if you longed it, which is arguably much easier if you put it on spaghetti, and structurally, like, makes a lot more sense because, like, you look at this, you look at break of a downtrend, you look at consistent higher lows like we've got on Bitcoin, we're looking at like a little level across here. You know, there's quite a lot of reasons to kind of jump in along on this, as long as you're quick at taking profits. Like, I'm not saying now, obviously, I'm not saying go long something up 73% on the day that is hot, supply-controlled garbage, right? I'm not saying that. Please don't take that away, not financial advice, do your own research, etc., etc. But, yeah, you know, that was a pretty reasonable short, but you would have got absolutely smoked if you kept it open, and incredibly smoked if you left it on leverage, yeah? And it's just it's that way up of like maximum possible return, right? Now, obviously, it could have gone straight to zero, and you could have, you know, you could have got yourself like a 99.9% return. Chances of that happening, pretty slim, yeah, pretty goddamn slim. And that's where the probabilistic thinking kind of comes into play. It's like you look at something that's clearly being manipulated and has been like absolutely in the gutter for a long time, and then has just been run up because 75% of the supply has been withdrawn from exchanges and so on and so forth. And yeah, you just weigh it up. You know, look at these moves. They are so inorganic. Any chart that's just doing this and then just does this, and then instantly like that. It's just so inorganic, right? It's pure crime and manipulation. That doesn't mean you can't make money trading it, but yeah, it reminds me of like MYX, which I did trade successfully several times. Not with not with ridiculous size, not with like $1 million or anything like that, and catching a 500% move, but enough to make it worth my time for sure. And like I said, this is one that I'm like almost putting back on my radar from a spot perspective because it's so ridiculous. Like, look at this. Look at these moves. Just insane. And again, this is like, pre-Pippin and all this kind of stuff. Like, we've got consistent higher lows. And, my risk is almost zero. Like, the team dumps everything. As in, like, my stop loss is price equals 0. Yeah? And honestly, I'd go for something like that. Because these just scam. They absolutely scam. I'm not saying buy it. I am saying it's probably worth having on your radar, right? Just for an intraday rotational trade. Liquidity is shit. The team can dump at any time. You have to be on your toes with this. Like, look at this. Absolutely runs up. Absolutely dies. You have, like, basically hardly any time at all to get out of that. But if there is the low time frame relative strength, it can be very interesting. Again, not encouraging you to do it on leverage, not encouraging you to do it with massive size. You have to be fast in and out, and you have to have a stop loss, otherwise you will get absolutely fucked. You need to enter a position on these kind of things knowing how much you're going to lose. So if you've got a $1,000 account, or you want to maximum lose, $100, let's say, you go, okay, well, I think my invalidation really is like here. That, well, let's make the maths a bit easier, shall we? Let's do like, your invalidation's like never going to be here, but let's do like 2%, and you want to lose, and you want to lose like $100. Yeah, that's like the maximum you want to lose. Then what is it, like $50,000 position size or something? I think my maths is fucking terribly wrong on that one. $5,000 position size. I don't fucking know. The mind boggles how I used to be an accountant. Yeah, it's $5,000, but yeah. What's an extra zero between friends, eh? So that's how you do it, and you size to that level. What am I short for the ages? Oh, the silver one. Yeah, don't mind you, just catching up. Yeah, watch it on like 1.5x speed, mate. Like, go for it. But the question now is like, what do we do next, right? Everyone's always like, oh my god, like I missed the move today. Like, what do I do? Well, firstly, take a fucking deep breath, right? Let's pretend. Let's go through the scenarios. Let's go through the probabilistic thinking together, right? Let's look at where we are on ETH. Yeah, like, does this look like the best fucking possible chart to long ever? No, not to me. Scenarios. Let's go through some scenarios. Scenario 1. This is kind of range high, and we continue to range here. Yeah? Well, then you've got plenty of trading opportunities down here, up here, whatever. Yeah, range. Pretty reasonable scenario. Scenario 2. We break out. We potentially retest. We start that trend upwards. We run to 8,000, 10,000, yada, yada, yada. We get fucking, exponentially more aggressive as we just print money out of the sky. We've got, firstly, a retest here. Secondly, you've got reclaims of levels and flipping of levels up here. There's plenty of chances to join this new exciting trend on Ethereum, right? And it is exciting, right? It is good if we get something like that. Absolutely incredible. The market will be risk on again. This rotation, I wasn't super bullish on it, I'm not gonna lie. We broke out. It literally followed my squiggle. This is where I said that's where you kind of get excited if you want to. But yeah, I've not been massively on side to this move on Ethereum. So what? I've absolutely killed the market in this period of time. Actually, in this period of time, right? This period of time, my account's up 200% or 210% or something fucking stupid, yeah? So I traded a downtrend to the long side pretty much only during that period, yeah? So if we actually start running it properly during like this period, I am sure I will do all right. particularly with my, intraday rotational strategy. So there's kind of those scenarios, yeah. The other scenarios, we get something like a little bit more meandery, it chops around, it does all this, and it fucks us about. And that in that scenario, you've got plenty of time to get chopped up or to put size into ETH. And then there's the other scenario, which is, I'd say, less likely, but it's equally this, and it's equally that. Those two scenarios can happen at any point. Price can do whatever it wants, is kind of my point. And I would weigh that at like 1% and that at like 1%, right? Actually less than that, probably like 0.1%, the same with the bottom one, yeah? I don't think either of those are going to happen. I actually think that, this level of volatility is pretty common. So you've got plenty of time. Now for me personally, I really like Filecoin. I do think the setup looks good. I think that there is the potential for the breakout. I don't want to play it to the short side, despite the fact that from a pure price action perspective, this looks like a pretty weak retest of this area where we've seen massive selling. So, I have to be very, very conscious how I talk about this, because, I don't want people to just be like, well, Charlie's fucking pure short Filecoin, and then it does this and fucking absolutely rips some holes. But like this, dying momentum into pivotal level, into a weak retest with a lower high, just not great. Just not great. $8,000. Yeah. I'm not saying it's going to $8,000. I'm saying, this is the thought process of what if the market does this? How am I positioned into it? How do I want to be positioned into it? When do I want to get into a position? When do I want to maximize my exposure? I don't maximize my exposure in a downtrend. I maximize my exposure when we start an uptrend, which arguably we have done for ETH, but I missed it. So I have to wait for a pullback, I have to wait for consolidation, I have to wait for a reclaim, I have to wait for something like that. The great one that I think of that I didn't actually trade very well was this reclaim down here on Ethereum. Not there, what the fuck? Jesus Christ. It was this one here, which I'd marked out for such a long time, and I was just like, this is such a nice level, right? Such a nice level to play around with, and we even had like so many retests into it, this like 2-4 level. And this big deviation where the market just in general tanked. But we had this. That reclaim there was really nice because we'd already had confirmed ETH strength. We'd had a confirmed like distribution with a deviation to try and sell off. And then we just reclaimed and we couldn't break below. So any one of those buys, if you had a stop somewhere down here, you would have just got a free ride to the next leg of ETH. And that's what I mean is like, we are basically here. This was the big downtrend. This is the first move out of it. Then there's a massive consolidation. And then we broke out that consolidation. Yeah? And if you look at like the same 4-hour chart today, it doesn't look exactly the same, obviously. I just mean the same 4-hour chart in terms of Ethereum. We had this massive downtrend. Doesn't really matter how you draw it, but either way, it's like that, it's like this, whatever. It's a strong downtrend. You just need eyes to see that, yeah? Had a consolidation, had a strong move. Chances are we'll probably just get a consolidation after it. Do you know what I mean? And then we play a reclaim, bosh, or a breakout. Really not that complicated. Play the next trade. I do want to play Filecoin. I do want it to just put in a candle like that and just unwind 10-10. I'm not gonna lie, but that's a hope, not a strategy, right? But that's kind of one of the reasons why it's so high up on my list. Stuff like Asta still hasn't reclaimed its trend, still looks like dog shit. So this is where asset selection becomes really key. You want to be longing things that are breaking their downtrends. You want to be longing things that have relative strength. You want to be longing things that are in play, not stuff like this. That's not to say it won't become in play, but yeah, asset selection is key. We're pumping up to 94 now. This is pretty fucking decent. Nice consolidation. I actually really like this for like my classic giraffe setup, which is nice move, consolidation, and then leg up again. And then that's it. Nice little giraffe. But I'm not gonna try like long highs. I've just missed the trade for the day, right? That's it. That's all it is. There'll be plenty of trades tomorrow. Even XPL is pumping. Holy shit! I've been dumping. I've been dunking on XPL for a while. But you know, this is where you get like reclaims, and you start going, "Oh, Charlie, you're a fucking idiot." Like, you know, this is like capitulation lows, blah blah blah. You couldn't pay me all the money in the world to long this shit, right? You could say, "Charlie, here's a free $1 million. You can only use it longing XPL." I'd still say no. I'm not doing it. I'm not adding any buying power to this, just purely out of principle. Because it'll show some form of relative strength for even just a nanosecond, and then people will long it. Just looks like fucking garbage. Is your offside divergence indicator custom or on the community? It's custom. It's custom. Tis the Paraguni one. But yeah, you know, we're kind of celebrating a lot of pumps, right, at the minute, and we're going, hey, look, all these coins are up. And most of the charts, if you zoom out to a daily, a weekly, they look like dog shit. They all look like dog shit, right? Useless dog shit. Fartcoin, dog shit. Zek, not too bad. But I found out they're paying people. They haven't fucking paid me. Cunts. Go to zero. Yeah. Nice to trade, though. Really nice to trade. You know, either way, I know XO absolutely nailed the shorts. Absolutely nailed the shorts. Yeah, what are you guys looking at? Bomberclart. Excellent. You're looking at town? No. I don't know why so many people are looking at it, to be honest. I can only assume one thing. Like, it just... Meh. Just trades like a massive range. I still don't know what this does. It just trades like a massive range. It's just, again, a bit dull. It's supposed to be a halving? Yeah. Traded Bitcoin on a day, but sold too because it's very easy range. Nice. I mean, it's just not that exciting, you know. What screams trade me is being on this, right? Being high up in this relative strength. Like, that's all I really care about. Whiff is kind of a bit discounted because it's so illiquid. Pengu, again, similar. Useless, similar. Like, useless in particular is very illiquid on perps. And then you get into, like, you know, other coins that are kind of quote unquote worth trading. Ape's a bit of an odd one. Haven't seen Ape on there for a long time. Yeah, Fartcoin, one of the more liquid ones of these, right? In terms of movers, just price action wise, the structure isn't amazing. But you know, even Sol is better performing than most of these, which is, you know, in terms of liquidity, you're gonna get far more bang for your buck trading Sol than pretty much anything on this list. What do you think about Coinbase? I haven't actually looked at... I want to move over to stocks a little bit more because it's actually better for me from a tax perspective. But... that looks quite interesting. You know, it looks like a high and low, and I assume, well, I don't know because I don't trade them, I assume that it moves pretty much in line with like the crypto market as a whole. So if you plotted Coinbase over total market cap or something of crypto, there'd probably be a correlation there. But yeah, I mean, it's quite janky, and I don't trade stocks, so you know, it's one of those which I don't mind commenting on stuff that I don't know a lot about. I talk about macro stuff, but I openly admit that that's not my bag. Do you know what I mean? Like, are we going to lower interest rates? Is it priced in? Blah, blah, blah. Don't know. Don't really Don't care. I appreciate that it could be a tailwind, it could be a narrative that people stick onto, and as a result, people bid more, which is all I give a shit about. Relative strength, good market structure, show me the chart, I'll tell you the news, that kind of thing. But, yeah. I'm not just going to blindly play off price action levels. Would you wait for some consolidation here and then play a breakout plays or what? Yeah, that's generally what I'm going to be doing. So, like, Filecoin is, I think, poised for a really good breakout. If that 40-cent seller steps aside, this is a really, really good chart for, here is a very obvious downtrend, right, which we talked about for weeks. Here is an obvious attempt to reverse that. Now, is it too early? This consolidation and weakness that we talked about earlier would suggest probably, but as soon as we clear this 40 cents level, this massive red box, I do think that it will put in a candle like this, a big 10%er. I think it will at least take these highs across here, which is, a good kind of 20% move here. So yeah, sorry, that's more like 50%. So I think it will literally just rip. Looking at Say. So we kind of covered Tau. Let's have a look at Say. I haven't looked at Say in a long time. Yeah, I mean, again, like structurally, it just doesn't look as significant as others. So you've got this resistance going across here. You've got support across here, right? It pretty much is stuck in a range. And when you compare that to lots of other charts, it just looks generally weak. So, it depends what type of trader you are. Yeah, if you're going to try and, trade the beta trades and play the catch-up trade of like a reclaim down here, then great, good for you. I don't do that. Personally, I want to find a coin. If there's 3 coins, yeah, one coin looks like this, one coin looks like this, and one coin looks like this, I'm always going to be trying to long that coin. Now, I appreciate that that coin might become this one and do this, or that one might and become this, and that's what Spaghetti is there to tell me. It's there to tell you on a low time frame rotational basis. Like, let's see if we can do something now, right? I'm bullish Fartcoin, and this chart would tell me, Charlie, you are wrong. You are wrong to be bullish Fartcoin right to this moment, because it is the weakest asset out of this entire basket. You should be looking at BERT, which is a liquid shitcoin from a PERT perspective, so you can't trade that. DYDX, which is, I'm not fucking trading that either. I should probably delete some of these, to be honest, and tidy it up. But hopefully you get my point. Like, this is just blatantly telling me that I am wrong for the minute. Now, if that changes and this starts pointing up and actually Filecoin starts doing this, then that tells me that this might be the rotation where it breaks out and that I should be trying to trade that. I should be trying to jump on board that because it's one of the strongest assets. And if you look at the Paragon Group clip, which I think is quite good, to be honest, I was actually really fucking ill last Thursday or whatever it was. Yeah, last Thursday. I live traded it with not as much like size as I normally do, but I still made like decent profits. We made quarter 10% or 9% rotation, whatever it was, like in the group, which was quite nice. I talked through my entire like entry criteria, my profit taking strategy. Like, I got really lucky on the sense of it was a really good rotation. There was basically like no drawdown on it at all. When was it? It was Friday night. Oh, sorry, Thursday night. It was here, I think. Was it there? Nope. Wednesday, Thursday. Must have been here. Yeah, it must have been there. And we basically got that entire rotation and sold the local top. So, yeah, it was good. And that was kind of a start to finish of how I enter a trade, how I question the whole trade through, whether I should take profit or not. Start new. And yeah, we were lucky enough to have a really good demonstration of essentially this rotation, like look at it, it was just beautiful, like pure up only. And then as soon as we started like diverging across these highs, and we printed the classic kind of range setup up here, you know, of this, and breaking above it and then coming below it, and like that was like time to like chop out. I actually think I tried out another trade here, and I did along it, and then I closed it basically at break even down here, because you can see that, you know, sellers just took control. And I know diagonals are memes and all that kind of stuff, but they do work, you know. You can see structurally what's going on. You can see who's in control. Breakout, Breakwind. Yeah, I mean, you can long Filecoin on Breakout with other people's money. Any opinion on Super from a next cycle perspective? I have no idea, mate. I've never heard of Super. What the fuck is this? Is this Super Sales India Limited? Are we... Is this what we've come to on a crypto stream? Super Sales India Limited? we're now shilling. We're now shilling Super Sales India Limited on stream, boys. Yeah, announcing new stream sponsor next week. JK. Super. Like, if you've got a fundamental reason to be bullish on this, like, go for it. It looks like absolute dog shit. Dead dog shit to me. The only saving grace is that, you know, from a low time frame, actually it's 12 hour, fuck me, market structure perspective, it looks okay. I don't know why you'd be bullish on it, having zero understanding of what it does, what niche it's positioned in, and all that kind of stuff, right? So, yeah, again, I'm not trying to dissuade you from owning this, like it's entirely up to you, but yeah, looks okay, like I said, from a structure perspective, but I don't see why I'd hold this over many other things. Good meow was Liz 800. Dog shit wrapped in cat shit. Bats are fundamentally really good. Yeah, I remember Bat, basic attention token. That was a bat blast from the past. I'm not even sure if I've got it on my list. We can certainly type those letters in though and add it up. Bat USD.T. Let's go. I've seen a couple of people shill this actually, like Camino. He's been talking about this. And to be fair, it doesn't look tragic. Like, it looks like one of the boomer coins, sorry, that is actually in quite a nice uptrend, but it's kind of a slow and steady one. So from a trading perspective, I find these really hard to trade because they're, you know, pretty decent moves, don't get me wrong, but like the price action is just all over the place. It's just very choppy. And this is what I mean, like, my eyes can't see too much in terms of like a major structure here. I can see this going across here, right, as a pivotal level. Maybe I'd argue this like here, and I'd put it on like these lows over here, and sort of say this as a region is quite pivotal, you know, resistance, hopefully flip support. But I haven't traded like this for a while in terms of playing sort of swing spot positions, particularly on stuff that, you know, is old. It doesn't look bad though. It does not look bad, just to be clear, like compared to a lot of other things. You know, it's clearly had a bit of strong momentum in the last few weeks. And even this, in terms of structure, like local structure, you know, it's consistent higher lows, and it's a nice little runner. Yeah, I might add it to a bit of spaghetti, because it does look pretty good. Yeah, see, and like this here, Filecoin, getting like shit on. This is what we were talking about earlier in the stream, right? And maybe if I had bigger balls, I would have shorted it, but yeah, I'd rather wait to see this reverse and jump on a long side rotation. And it might not reverse, right? In which case I don't take a trade, not a problem. Still use Brave every day, lovely. Can you do SPX? I haven't really looked at SPX for a little while, actually. But yeah, let's have a peep. Like for me, from a high time frame perspective, it's pretty hard to fade this. But we are starting to see like momentum divergences across these highs, which arguably have played out in terms of like this pullback here. But you start going into like the weekly and you see the same occurring, you know, across these highs. Again, it's not super clean, right? but you can still see, and you can see it visually, right, just with your eyeballs. You don't need RSI to tell you that this is weakening momentum, i.e. you're going like this, and that's the shape of it, instead of continuing on the trajectory that was this, yeah? You are certainly getting slower. Does that mean I want to short this? No. Does that mean I want to go balls deep long this? No. Like, I don't particularly just want to trade it at all. Like, just not that interested. You know, dollars meandering. I actually, you know, we thought before, or I thought before, that it might just have a breakout, just purely from a technical perspective. Again, zero macro idea, zero macro bullshit kind of in my system, just pure technicals of consistent high lows. And, you know, whatever it was, 1, 2, 3, 4th attempt at breaking out. You know, if this was a 5-minute chart, you'd say that that's a pretty reasonable long, like here. It didn't, you know. We're still in a pretty risk-on period. Same for US 100, you know, it's still pretty strong. And just up and to the right. Shame crypto hasn't been particularly strong with it. What about Mon? So Mon's an interesting one, because it did have a really good rotation to start with, and I actually think that the notion of that makes total sense, right? It was listed for a long time. You could short it for a long time if you wanted to. You know, those massive shorts piled up, and then bosh, they all got wiped out. Same again, everyone shorts, protects their airdrop. You know, anyone who wanted to sell basically could have sold, or at least hedged what they got. And then as soon as it went live, we got that rip of like 60-70%. And to be honest, I wish I'd thought it through a little bit more, because that was a pretty, I wouldn't say obvious, because it always sounds really bad in hindsight, because everything's obvious in hindsight. But the fact that we had the pre-market for it kind of meant that the kind of skew between buyers and sellers was off. You know, normally we're used to launches going, hey, you know, team pumps a bit of liquidity in, people start tweeting about it and stuff, and then everyone gets their tokens and it goes like that. Whereas actually, if you've given them weeks and months to hedge their exposure over here, you know, realistically, most people are either just going to close their hedges, which will make perp price go up, offset them by spot dumping, but, you know, it would be net out to pretty much nothing. And then, yeah, net, you've probably got more buyers than sellers, you know, people who just didn't have this allocation but want to buy it. So, yeah, I did probably underthink that one. But at the minute, it just doesn't look particularly great, right? After that run, it's just that dead bouncing ball. It's not really doing a lot. Now, that could change. I do have it on my spaghetti. You see it here. It's one of the weaker coins. But same argument for market structure on other coins. Why would you long something that's looking like this and in a strong downtrend versus something that looks like this and in a strong uptrend? Yeah? Thoughts on Nobody? It got obliterated. Well, I think it's actually under the price at which I sold it now, so that makes me kind of happy in a weird way. Because anyone in the stream before, I bought some in here. I had SC on the stream actually, and we were talking about it. I bought some here, and then we longed it like on the breakout of this. Oh no, it's still, oh no, it is under where I sold it. Happy days. Yeah, because I pretty much sold it like up here somewhere. I was like, I'm a fucking genius. Then obviously it just runs like an absolute bitch, and leaves poor old Charlie in the streets with his ramen noodles. But yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those, like, a lot of memes are, like, I don't want to say they're dead, because there's probably a lot of people with bags of this, but it's going to be really difficult to revive a lot of these memes, I think. Like, I always think that people don't, like, how do I put this? People aren't going to want to buy this because it's had a cycle. I actually think the most interesting memes are the newer memes. You know, I think when we had the original kind of meme run, and we had the likes of, you know, Doge and Shib having multiple cycles, and we basically got this, like, perpetual run of markup, distribute, markdown, you know, consolidate or accumulate, markup, distribute, markdown. And the more cycles a coin saw, the better, because you had this kind of continual belief that it would just do this forever. And now you've got too many coins for that cycle to support, so that when a coin runs up to like $1 billion market cap or 100 million or whatever the fuck this was, you know, you've also got quite a lot of holders who will just fucking send it to zero. And I don't think you're going to get many meme coins that do multiple cycles anymore. I just don't. I think there's too much dispersion. I think people are going to just chase the new runner. Everyone wants to catch the whiff, right? Everyone wants to catch the 10,000x. So, yeah, I mean, if it's not recovering now, I don't know. But equally, these charts are so shot to shit that you probably catch a quick 2x off it if it does recover in any way, shape, or form. But again, like, I just not really interested until it starts putting in higher lows. Token has got in dog water though. Hex up 1% bounce off keeper support. Let's go. God, I'm trying to keep up the chat today, and it's good. You boys are, and girls and theys and everyone else chucking out good questions. Back in 2018, Electronium did a big run, I think, during the bull run. Do you think it has any potential since it's still in use? No, probably not. And I remember Electronium as well. And it was like, because I remember going, do I long Einsteinium or Electronium? And I chose Einsteinium. You can copy Spaghetti there. I'll chuck it in the chat. And I'm going to be cringe, guys. I'm going to be really cringe. We got like 70 people watching it, 80 people watching it, whatever it is. If you wouldn't mind subscribing, I'm at 5,890 subs. I'd quite like to get to 6,000 before like the end of the year. That would, you know, it's pretty cringe, but I'll ask. You know, worst you can do is say, "Fuck off, Charlie. I ain't subbing to you." Yeah, there you go. It's in the chat. Oh, and I missed the Farcoin rotation. Look. Piece of shit. Look at Doge. I don't really like Doge. Not anymore. I had a really nice trade on Doge. Way back here. I was long, like, massive stack of Doge in here somewhere. Maybe it was here. I can't remember. It was either here or here. And I literally had to sell like in this candle basically, but it was, yeah, it was very good size. And again, like, this is the thing, is like, if I look at this and I go, that is, you know, strong downtrend. I kind of compare it to like this, you know, strong downtrend. I'm not saying right now's the time to be bullish, ape your entire like net worth, blah blah blah. But you just look at these patterns and you just go, well, hopefully, as soon as we start moving out of some of these, you know, we'll get a risk on rotation, and that's all it is. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for a 10x or a 1000x or anything like that. Just a nice rotation to play. That's it. You know, same here. That's a downtrend. That's a downtrend. That's a downtrend that didn't really end very well, but we'll ignore that one because I want to be bullish. But do you get what I mean? Like, these are, even if you do this and you consider this entire thing as a big downtrend, like, I think we're closer to a bottom on some of these charts than a top, which is why I'm going to keep like maintaining my bullish rotational bias. Now, I'd love to get a rotation like this, obviously, where we do like a 400% move on a massively liquid asset. I don't think that's going to be the rotation. I think the best we'll get is something like this in general, which is, you know, a nice 2x, but, you know, it's still very possible. You know, a 2x from like down here, even if you bought it right now, it doesn't look absurd. Yeah, would not look absurd on this chart, I don't think. So yeah, you know, how would I enter this specifically? It's actually quite hard for Doge because I don't normally trade it because it's quite drabby in terms of beta. But yeah, doesn't look too bad. They only have so many alt accounts, thank you. Well, thank you all for registering, you know, 10 alt accounts each and pushing me over that 6k mark. Not cringe, to be honest. You do this every week, open for free if you're here often. Liking and subscribing is the least you can do, being real. Yeah, true. I suppose I do it for streamers I enjoy. If you want more subscribers, you probably only need to give away free Spaghetti graphic t-shirts. That's actually quite a good idea. if I wanted to dox in real life, I'd do it. What about D's? Oh, come on, man. D's was like years ago. Did you do gold? I saw silver. I didn't actually do gold. I memed a gold chart last stream, which I assume is absolutely annihilated. Wow. Okay. Wow. It's not annihilated. I'm surprised. I am surprised. Because I posted this last stream, if you guys remember, and I said I'm gonna upset some people. I'm gonna upset some Peter Schiff people. I haven't been able to join the last couple of weeks. So we're good. Oh yeah, Boozer. Yeah, I'm really good, mate. I'm fully recovered from my cough, cold, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I feel so much better, man. Honestly, it was so difficult trying to trade, trying to do videos and just be like myself and talk and not cough and not have to mute the mic every 2 seconds. But yeah, I feel great, and it's I'm glad it's done for Christmas, if that makes sense, because I really hate being ill at Christmas. I really hate it. It's almost like every year, as soon as you sort of slow down or you get out of your routine, you end up kind of a little bit fucked. But anyway, enough moaning. I'm waiting for a CBS stream to ask about Jewel. Just DM him. DM him relentlessly. Every day. When's Jewel gonna 100x? I mean, a lot of people made a lot of money on Jewel. I don't think anyone could cry about it. And it was actually a really cool game. I still like the music. Although I never really got into the trading of the assets on it or doing anything like that. But I owned a fuck ton of it. I sold a fuck ton of it, and then that was it. Move on. What are your thoughts on Bitcoin dominance? So I think Bitcoin dominance is a largely irrelevant chart because Bitcoin dominance is it's not really representative of the full sphere of crypto, right? If you actually had Bitcoin dominance with all the on-chain dog shit that we had in the last however many years, the chart probably looks something like this, right? And then recently looks like that. Like, it's just such a bad metric when you consider like the Solana summer and all this kind of stuff like back here. Like, there is no way during all of that, there is just no way that Bitcoin actually looked like that in terms of dominance of total crypto market cap. Just no way. So I think it's pretty useless. I think it's completely outdated as a metric. I think a lot of people are like, wee, old season, you know. And I think they are retarded. You're clearly sick last Thursday stream. Yeah, I still banged out like a 5-figure P&L, didn't I? Within an hour. That was quite funny. Kind of wish I actually sized up on it, but, you know, I was ill. It's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. Trying to nail the gold top? Oh, I don't think so, mate. You know, it's just the standard parabola move of like, you know, run up and then lower high, and you know that's a classic sign for me for a short. Spam farm and post that this is ever the top on gold. Yeah, of course, man. That's free engagement. It's a free 5,000 followers, all of whom are like TradFi fund managers. What about Dash? I think the privacy matter actually came largely from Zcash being Ponzi'd up, but who knows? What does little old Charlie know about any of this? Yeah, I think, you know, owning a Dash masternode in 2017 meant you were a trillionaire, but for those OGs that were around in that time, yeah, you remember. It doesn't look too bad from like this is a nice consolidation, a nice range, a nice break of diagonals, just in terms of like giving you some confluence, but there's no real relative strength, right? That breakout was nice, but that was probably the trade that then reversed, and that was it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I get excited about something that doesn't have relative strength. And yeah, even that little fuck. Oh, excuse me. I can cough all over you. You've got AIDS now, congratulations. Sorry, that one really caught me off guard. Yeah, I mean, that was, look, nice rotation into strong sells. Nice bounce from the lows. And this is where we get, let's have a look at this, right? If we can start justifying a bit of a long here, like not here, As in, like, I want to see, like, reclaims. I want to see reclaims of some little meme levels, some little lines that I've drawn on a chart. Yeah, this, the market said, I'm buying this, and did this little rotation. So it really puts it on my radar. So we'll see if we can get something. You know, if I was being super aggressive, I might even enter a little bit here and just do something like this and go really counter trend. But obviously I'm streaming, so I'm not going to do that. Totally off topic, what's your PC specs? That's a really good question. I don't fucking know, me. I got one of my friends to build it. Let me find out. It's AMD Ryzen 9 7950X 16-core processor. Yay. GeForce RTX 5070 Ti. Yay. Don't know what any of that fucking shit means. But it seems to go pretty fast, so I'll take it. Like the Dash Bitcoin Bear looks decent compared to others. Yeah, it probably does. I mean, you can map like the Bitcoin Bears on RSI, and that is effectively the same as spaghetti, just as some sauce. If any of you do trading on Robinhood, they're doing a gold giveaway. 1 entry is $1, each up to 1 million entries. Happy days. XPL looks like shit now, but when would you consider looking at a long position? I actually covered that earlier, and the answer is never. I think my exact words were, if you gave me $1 million and said you can only trade this long in XPL, I would object to doing it purely because I wouldn't want to put $1 million of buy pressure on that chart, because it is the most fucking disgusting chart in crypto. Because it is just like retail abuse. Like, look at it. Absolute abuse. Just criminal. Absolutely criminal. Do you become profitable if you lick the NYSE bull statue? Maybe. Damn, you have a beast for PC, man. Well, thanks. I just said to my mate, just building something that'll last forever. Or last for like 5-6 years, do you know what I mean? Sorry to be a bother, but that spike chart won't load. It should do. It's literally... Well, I don't know, mate. If you're in the Paragon, just message me. Or at me. Posted your XPL is the heaviest object in the universe. Yeah. Thanks for good views. You're welcome. I mean, they're just views, right? Everyone's got their own views, and you should have your own views, and you should take my views and say, I think Charlie is right here, but I think he's wrong here for these reasons. And then we'll see what happens, because the market will just be the arbiter of all of our decisions. You know, I don't think Charlie should have long Zach. Well, okay, it's run up. So, good. I think Charlie should be closing it now. I don't think Charlie should be looking at Filecoin for these reasons. You know, here you go. It's fucking dead. Fucking dead, bruv, innit? I mean, I wasn't actually trading, so it's fine. But yeah, that's my point. Like, fucking Luna running. Luna running is bad for all of our bags, I think. This is, yeah, not great. Not great. And you know, when you're looking at the market from like this perspective, you know, it's basically trade Luna to the long side, or just chill. Disgusting chart, yeah. Just got entry TP stop loss. Well, I think this theoretical is about to get banged out. But why I drew these levels was because I wanted to see it reclaim them, and that's where I would have been joshing in and saying, well, actually, your kind of invalidation is in this consolidation somewhere. But I will move it back to where it was, and that would be that. Like I said, if I was being aggressive, but it's not really the conditions to be aggressive. Do you know what I mean? Like, the conditions to be aggressive were back here for this rotation, which obviously you never know. But straight after a move up and a distribution is not really the time, and a sell-off. It's not really the time to be trying to bulls back in, unless the sell-off goes down just to like here, and then you get relative strength and you reclaim. And that's why like this distance is quite important, right? Because if you drop down like 6% down here, then you need to basically recover 7% to even get back into the range, which is, you know, that in and of itself is a trade. How is Luna still circulating? I know, it's one of those, isn't it? It's pretty criminal, how it's still going. But again, you know, structurally, pretty nice. Pretty nice. Even just low time frame, and like, look at it from a chart perspective. You know, since the start of December, it's had a major run. You know, incredible. Should we see Pippin? Have another look at Pippin. Mental. Absolutely mental. Shorter's getting carried out. It's all in the Pulpins PA. It's news based. There was an announcement. Do Kwon prosecutors were seeking 12-year sentence. Oh, amazing. Yeah. I mean, if you're a news trader, I think news trading is one of those things I would I really wish I got into. Because I'd love it. Because I can react fast. And I'm an old man, but I can react fast. Psh. Look at this shit, man. Wow, that was when I looked at Ada before. Wild. Yeah. Did you catch Flying Ketamine Horse? Sweat 388k and now 4 million. Not gonna make it. I mean, you're talking to someone who had like $1 billion a ship at one point, and I did not sell $1 billion a ship, so there's always another trade, mate. Always another trade. Yeah, it feels like that today that there isn't, but I can assure you there'll be another Flying Ketamine Horse at some point, or some dog shit, equally as dog shit. Long on it since 0.15, I totally forgot about Pippin, thanks for reminding me. Nice. Billion with a B, yeah. But, clearly, I didn't hold it. Totally can share how you use volume and RSI for confluence, also what the colours on your RSI represent. So, RSI is just whether it's oversold or overbought, right? And RSI is just 14 candles by default. Boop. And it just does a calculation on the last 14 candles and whether they're all buys, all sells, and the distance. That's it. So it's really kind of simple. And you can see it in the chart, right? Like, if you just delete all of this noise, you can go, well, that's a pretty fucking ridiculous sell-off, right? There's like been like one little buy candle in that entire thing, maybe a couple more actually, maybe a couple more, but still, you can see that that's a really strong downtrend. And as soon as you start like seeing that, you start going, well, that's a really extremely oversold position. You have to sort of ask yourself, do I want to be aggressively shorting into an extremely oversold position? Probably not. Do I want to be looking for signs of reversal to potentially buy? Well, it depends if there's relative strength, yeah? And if there's relative strength, then yeah, absolutely. You've got a break, you've got your low, you've got a reason to kind of get along, yeah? And that's like in this candle, and you know, we had a little nice reaction here, but yeah, we were a bit late. So that's why I didn't go for it. This is pretty much the trade I took last Thursday, you know, a stronger downtrend to be fair, and then a reversal. So that's RSI. It's really just to give you the simple at a glance look of where price is relative to recent PA, and then also if there's a decent divergence to play. So I'm trying to think of something that's got a decent divergence. I haven't been playing them too much recently. Oh, there's an okay one down here. Not the best, but it'll do for the example. It's where you've got a lower low in price, but a higher low in momentum. So what that tells you is that even though price is going down, the speed at which it's going down is much slower than it was before. So if you think about things from a market rotation perspective, you go, well, you know, I think the market works like this, yeah? It goes up and then it comes down, up and then down, up and then down. And sometimes it goes more up than down, in which case you get an uptrend. Sometimes it goes more down than up, in which case you get a downtrend, yeah? And all you're trying to do is say, well, as soon as that momentum starts shifting, that's when you start thinking about taking trades on that side. And that's it. That's kind of all I really use RSI for. And volume? Well, volume's just I kind of explained volume in a weird way. It's where a battle's being fought. And you can see, I won't give too much away on volume, but like how I use it. But you can see where people are interested in either causing chaos or absorbing a massive position. Yeah. So like, if you see the price has barely moved, but there's a huge amount of volume there, you can kind of infer that there's a pretty significant battle kind of happening on at that price point, and that because a lot of contracts are being traded there, where it breaks from is probably going to be quite detrimental to the trend, the next leg of the trend, whether it's up or down. Yeah, well, not detrimental, sorry. It's going to really inform what the next leg's going to be. So let's say that this candle here, right? Let's say we had this little mini range, and that this candle is, this massive candle like on volume, and it's here. It doesn't break out, it's here. What we'd infer from that is that there's a pretty significant battle to either break this down or push this out, and whoever wins this little fight, has kind of overpowered somebody, and you'd like to think that means that there's a pretty decent reversal. And I'm not talking about a candle this size, to be clear, actually. I'm talking a candle like this size. I do this weird thing as well of like, I'll do this and I'll go, okay, so like what other candle has come close to this one? And it's a bit of a bad example because it is like literally a monster. But it shows you the significance of like this sell-off, you know what I mean? And like here, like let's say we reclaim this on relative strength, I'd be a bit more inclined to take this long, even though I know it doesn't work out, right? It's just for the kind of purpose of demonstration. Because I know that was a pretty significant sell-off, like locally from a volume perspective. We hit a big oversold element of RSI, and I'm not going to obviously do that. I'm going to be like, right, well, we've reclaimed this range. We had a really strong sell-off, but we've reclaimed it on relative strength. Like, let's go. And then we die and we lose the trade, but that's fine, right? When we win trades, we win them pretty big. A 0.4% stop isn't going to kill my bank balance at all. It's just a bit of confluence, really. I don't use it as in, like, I'm going to take the trade now. I don't say, right, well, because it's sold off massively, I'm going to long it instantly. No. It's just, is this like a significant enough place where people have fought to move it in the opposite direction? And like on a big candle like that, the answer is probably not. It's probably some licks and various other things. But in other scenarios, it can sort of show you absorption, essentially. Does that make sense? Look at ARB. Let's have a look at ARB. And then I'm gonna head off soon. Yeah, similar to whatever it was earlier, just in this pretty boring position of, it's a range. This is a range. It's not particularly interesting to me. Do you know what I mean? It's like ping pong in the range. Not great. Holding all the shitty dead coins. Just spotted some new shiny shit coin called Knight. What we have to do is try to get your followers from across the pond to their 2,000 rebate checks at the same coin. Make it sound like great marketing. Yeah, true. Yeah, put your your Trump pump checks into the same coin. What makes a divergence good or bad? Why didn't you like div? So it depends if they're both in the extremes and it's clean. So that's fucking terrible. What am I doing? It's clean like that. It looks nice, and there's not much movement up in either one. Then that's like a clean div. If you get something that's a bit more like price is kind of doing like this, and it's doing that, and then momentum's doing like this, or however it'll look, and doing that, and it's a bit more choppy. Hear me out, flying ketamine horse in Inu. Yeah, I mean this is the thing, but vamping those things is just meh. I would like my anyone bag to run again. Please. Please run this. Thank you. But yeah, what am I looking at right now? Like I said, I really want a long fart coin, but it's just too early. It's too early. Just looks like shit. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure I got any new subscribers, but if anyone wants to subscribe, it would be much appreciated. Get past the 589 barrier. And I think I'll love you and leave you. Because, yeah, there's not too much more to say. I don't think. Almost 2 AM in your area. I'm getting angry now, so gotta go. Merry Christmas. Say it back. Yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone. I will be here next week. But yeah. Yeah, Merry Christmas to you guys, and your families, and your friends, and all that kind of stuff. Genuinely, you know, it's one of those times. I don't care if you're not Christian or anything like that. I'm not Christian. I'm not religious, but I'm British, and we tend to celebrate Christmas with family and friends and stuff. And yeah, you know, hope nobody's offended. Yeah, I'll probably stream either the same time next week or a different time, but I'll, yeah, if you're subscribed, you'll see it, and if you're not subscribed, then what are you doing? Take that night share, minus 55% of the day. Yeah, I'm going to be looking at Fart again, Zach, and I don't know what else really. I'm hoping that this rally sustains. But again, we've had a lot of these like moves that have just, you know, run up, distributed, sold off, run up, distributed, sold off. You know, I'm not like, don't know. If it does run, I think it really has to clear like 94k pretty convincingly. For me to think that this isn't just like range bound chop. But tell your grandma to follow for subs. Legend. Get to slide in my DMs. We should combine your spaghetti with volume bubbles and call it spaghetti and meatballs. It's fucking great. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a bad shout at all. Not a bad shout at all. That's a fucking banger, that is. Right. On that bombshell, I will love you and leave you all, and I will see you on the other side. Au revoir.